You ever hear a story so wild you wouldn't believe it unless you lived it yourself? This one starts with a knock on a quiet country morning and ends with the truth no HOA ever wanted face. Before we dive in, comment what country you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. It was late afternoon in the Texas Hill Country, the kind of day where the sun hangs low, painting the fields gold, and cicadas hum like they own the air. John Carter, a retired Green Beret, stood on the porch of his ranch sipping strong coffee. His boots were dusty from fixing a broken fence line, and his loyal dog, Duke, lay at his feet half asleep. Life out here was simple, peaceful, just the way John liked it. But peace has a way of drawing storms. From the end of the gravel drive, 2 black SUVs rolled up, tires crunching like thunder on the stones. Out stepped 4 men in dark uniforms, badges on their belts, sunglasses hiding their eyes. At first glance, they looked like law enforcement. But to John, something fell off immediately. Their movements were stiff, rehearsed. Their patches didn't match. And not one of them greeted him with the respect any real officer would show. "Afternoon, sir," the tallest one barked. "We're with county enforcement. Got a few violations reported here on your property. We'll need to take a look inside." John set down his coffee, his sharp eyes narrowing. "County enforcement? Huh? Don't recall seeing that division before. You got paperwork?" The man pulled out a folder, but John noticed the county seal was crooked, almost like it had been glued on. He didn't need more than a glance. These weren't cops. These were imposters. And John had a hunch about who sent them. For months, his HOA had been hounding him. Letters about the unapproved barn color, fines for livestock noise, even threats about improper landscaping. John knew the truth. They hated his independence. He wasn't the type to bow, and that rubbed him the wrong way. Now they'd gone too far. "Step aside, sir," another man ordered, his hand resting on what looked like a taser. John didn't move. Instead, he leaned against the porch post, his voice calm as steel. "Tell me something. When the sheriff started outsourcing raids to the HOA board?" The men glanced at each other, their script falling apart. One muttered, "Look, just let us in, and we won't make this harder than it has to be." Duke growled low, his hackles rising. The tension snapped like a rope pulled too tight. John's training kicked in, not in violence, but in control. He knew fear when he saw it, and these men were drowning in it. He raised his voice, loud enough for the ranch hills to carry. "Neighbors," he shouted, "come see this. Cops say they're here to raid me." From across the fields, a tractor shut down. A screen door slammed. Within moments, 3 of John's neighbors were walking over, wiping sweat from their brows, curious about the commotion. The imposters shifted, their confidence draining. John kept the spotlight on them. "Go on, boys. Show everyone your badges. Let's get a good look." The tallest man stammered, We don't have to prove anything." But before he could finish, one of the neighbors, Mrs. Hayes, a retired court clerk, peered over his shoulder at the badge. She shook her head, her voice sharp. "That's not county issue. I've seen hundreds. That's fake." The air went heavy. The imposters froze. Every eye was on them. John stepped forward, his presence towering, without needing force. "You've got 10 seconds to get off my land before I call the real sheriff. And believe me, he'll be real interested in who hired you." Silence. Then, with a nervous glance, the 4 men backed away, retreating toward their SUVs. Tires spun gravel as they sped down the road, vanishing into the horizon. John stood tall, watching them go, his neighbors rallying at his side. Duke barked once, like sealing the victory. Later that evening, as the stars burned over the ranch and cicadas fell quiet, John sat back on his porch, sipping fresh coffee. His phone buzzed. It was the sheriff. Turns out, those imposters were hired muscle, sent by none other than the HOA board president himself, desperate to scare John into compliance. But intimidation only works on the unprepared. John smiled, his voice steady as he told his neighbors. They forgot one thing. You can't outplay a Green Beret on his own ground. And from that day on, the HOA never dared send another letter. The ranch stood free, the way it was always meant to. If you enjoyed this story, like and subscribe for more.